In post-war Spain, Narcissus, a youthful fledgling with otherworldly powers, shows up at a previous religious circle, presently a school for young ladies, to turn into an educator. As the days go by, the bizarre occasion and progressively upsetting circumstance that torture he will ultimately lead her to disentangle the horrible skein of mysterious that encompass the cloister and torment its occupants. Please subscribe and click the bell icon. Stay with us till the end.
The film begins in 1939 when we see a young lady in a recording device. This young lady takes a cross in her grass and focuses it towards the sky. She was likewise supplicating. When this occurred, the light came from the haziness, since there was a sun-based overshadow before. Presently, because her requests had been replied to, everybody began believing her to be a rescuer for themselves. They check out at the young lady with confident eyes, come near her, and accumulate around her. Every one of them was likewise grasping a cross. After this, the story is shown 10 years after the fact. This is the hour of 1949. We see a sister named Narcissa, who comes to a congregation with her possessions. She sees that there are a great deal of projectile imprints on the congregation. Then, another cloister adherent sister, who was the head religious woman here, took Narcissa inside. She expresses that, after the conflict, at the point when there was harmony and serenity here, the elderly individuals of the congregation had left this spot. Among the elderly individuals, there is just me, a sister and mother prevalent. Presently, this congregation has been transformed into a school and inn for unfortunate youngsters. The offspring of needy individuals come here to study and live. Presently, Narcissa meets Mother Unrivaled, who is running this school and inn. Narcissa checks out the image of a similar young lady here, whom we found in the first place. This young lady was no other person except for Sister Narcissa. During their discussion, we came to be aware that Narcissa has come here to show the youngsters, since as of late, a sister had left the school. In any case, nobody knew where she had unexpectedly gone. Presently, Narcissa is given a room where she keeps her effects. However, her bag was not going for it. At the point when she checked, there was a container lying there. At the point when she opened it, there was a letter, an image of a sister, and some scissors. The image, likewise, had the name of this sister, which is Socorro. Snapping her photo in her grasp, Narcissa takes the name of Sister Socorro. When this occurs, the seat before her begins moving, which tumbles down with a sound. Then, at that point, somebody outside the entryway begins beating boisterously. Despite the fact that Narcissa opens the entryway and looks, yet she doesn't see anybody there. Yet, indeed, she sees an imprint on the wall before her room, which was not there previously. However, she overlooks it and comes to her group to show the youngsters. She informs the youngsters concerning herself first, also begins thinking of her name on the slate. Also, presently, Narcissa thought of her name. Every one of the kids began getting terrified. They began muttering something. One young lady, Rosa, is frightened to such an extent that her fertilizer emerges. After class, Narcissa comes to Rosa and inquires that when I composed my name on the writing board, why were you and every one of the kids terrified? However, before Rosa could say anything, her twin sister won't tell Rosa that she didn't tell Narcissa anything. Presently, when Narcissa came to her room, she saw that the imprint on the wall, which I had seen previously, has now expanded somewhat more. Around the evening time, somebody defined one more boundary there. In any case, Narcissa doesn't give a lot of consideration to it. Afterward, Mother Unrivaled showed her the collection, which likewise had photos of those sisters and nuns who kicked the bucket while working there. There was an image missing in the collection, which Narcissa figures out that this missing picture should be of Sister Socorro, the one that she tracked down in the room. She returns to her room. Furthermore, begins checking out at the image of Sister Socorro. Yet again, the seat began moving. Furthermore, fell with a sound. Like previously, Somebody began thumping on the entryway uproariously. She listened cautiously, yet there was nobody. Presently, she began feeling that this should happen to me by some error. That is the reason she began beating herself, since in their religion it is trusted that, assuming you beat and rebuff yourself, then, at that point, your wrongdoings will be washed away. Presently, how about we take a gander at every one of the young ladies who were dozing in the following room. One young lady awakens because she needs to go to the washroom. That is the reason she advises Rosa to accompany her. Presently, Rosa was hearing weird commotions from outside. She actually disregards it and comes to the washroom with her companion. Be that as it may, here as well, it began getting odd. Out of nowhere, the water tap opens all alone. The entire bath is full. The water additionally begins shaking viciously. Be that as it may, unexpectedly, all the water vanishes someplace. Then, at that point, Rosa tracks down somebody's trimmed hair in the bath. She was checking the hair out. That is the point at which she feels somebody's presence there. That is the reason she shouts. Hearing the sound of shouting, the early advantage is shaking. Presently, one of the young ladies who was dozing inside begins shouting. She tells me that a young lady in her rest has trimmed my hair. Since there was a scissor there, her hair was likewise absent. Presently, because Rosa had tracked down this young lady's hair in the washroom, everybody believed that Rosa trimmed her hair, even though she cries and rejects that I did nothing like that. In any case, nobody trusts her. The head pious devotee likewise beats her a ton. The following morning, when Narcissa came to class, she saw that Rosa was not in class today. She figured out that the head religious recluse had secured her in a cell as a discipline. At the point when Narcissa went to her cell, Rosa tells her that indeed, I didn't do that. I didn't see it before you came. Also, we all youngsters saw that imprint on the wall, which was made before your room, at the point when we told this to the sister whose place you came. She made a foot of the image. What's more, finished that inadequate picture. She did this so that she could tell us all that there is no spirit here, albeit the spirit is here. However, when that sister finished the image, her name was composed on the actual board. From that point onward, she vanished. Nobody knows where she is gone, whose place you have come to show the kids. Rosa tells her that when you came to class right off the bat, at the point when you were composing your name on the slate, this is the justification for why every one of the youngsters was apprehensive. Since once somebody's name is composed on the writing board, it implies that his demise or vanishing is sure. At the point when Narcissa returned the night, she saw that a sister was making a dish like momo in the kitchen. After asking, that's what the sister said. This is the morning meal of the offspring of tomorrow first thing. She likewise gives a momo to Narcissa to eat, with the goal that she can perceive how it tastes. Narcissa eats it, yet its taste is exceptionally peculiar. Furthermore, presently out of nowhere blood. Furthermore, that thing begins coming from her mouth that she had eaten. It was observed that it was anything but a momo, yet natural eyes. Seeing this, Narcissa's heart gets awful. She felt extremely awful. What's more, presently, as she thoroughly searches in front, she figured out that these eyes were not of any other individual, yet of that sister who was currently looking alarming without eyes. Seeing her in such a state, Narcissa gets frightened gravely. She began shouting noisily. She then raced to her room, where somebody was attempting to kill her by squeezing her throat and entire body, since her face was covered with garments. What's more, the garments were likewise getting tight. It began harming Narcissa gravely, with which Narcissa's eyes opened. Seeing this, She inhaled a murmur of help, that it was only a terrible dream of mine. Be that as it may, presently when she woke up, she saw that imprint had now increased, which she saw all along. The dead man in the imprint currently has 2 hands and 1 leg. Furthermore, presently only 1 leg was left to be made, with which this image will be finished. At any rate, disregarding this once more, Narcissa comes to show the youngsters yet again where the kids begin getting terrified while talking delicately. Rosa got so terrified that she promptly moved up and took off from that point. Then, at that point, that's what Narcissa sees. Presently, Rosa's name is composed on the slate. However, she came directly to Rosa from here with the goal that she could deal with her. Narcissa attempts to cause her to figure out that, look, there is a compelling reason to stress, I'm with you. Crime. Rosa tells her that a young lady's spirit is currently apparent wherever to me. Narcissa fails to see what to do. Then, at that point, she holds Rosa's hand. What's more, finishes the image by making the last leg of the image, so she can tell her, like the past sister, that there is no spirit here. However, out of nowhere, Rosa got terrified once more. She lets Narcissa know that there is somebody behind you. However, presently she is certain not a youngster's spirit, yet a frightening lady. When Narcissa went to see her, there was nobody there. In any case, presently when she thinks back, Rosa vanishes. Narcissa got extremely terrified. She and Rosa's twin sister search for her all over. In any case, she is mysteriously absent. In dread, Narcissa tells the head pious devotee that Rosa has vanished. Furthermore, she begins reprimanding Narcissa. She flew off the handle with her. She advised her to leave the school. Maybe the head cloister adherent didn't need it. Narcissa realized the thing was occurring here. However, Narcissa came to a little room searching for Rosa. However, she was unable to leave here, since somebody secures her by shutting the entryway. Then, at that point, she begins seeing a ton of eyes before her. What's more, a ton of hands dig out from a deficit and catch Narcissa. They attempt to frighten and kill her. Narcissa takes off from here by taking the name of Jesus. Then, at that point, she sees Rosa's body before her. She is extremely miserable, after which she begins planning to cover Rosa. Narcissa was crying a great deal. Then, at that point, she leaves the school with a miserable heart. Presently, when she sees the sun-based overshadow begins, very much like it happened to her in her experience growing up. Yet that's what again very much like dimness spreads here. In any case, sooner or later, when the shroud is taken out, a splendid light comes. Yet at the same time, sitting kneeling, she continued to check the sun out. She doesn't eliminate her eyes briefly. What's more, with this, Narcissa's vision disappears. That is, she was visually impaired. What's more, regardless of not having eyes, she had the option to see all that occurred here. This was the point at which the conflict broke out. Narcissa sees that during the conflict, a few looters had entered this congregation. A burglar has done a ton of amiss with unfortunate Sister Socorro. Seeing this, Narcissa felt so awful that she began shouting. Hearing the shout, everybody in right now knew that Narcissa's eyes had gone. That is the reason they acquired her and put her in the room. After which, Narcissa snaps the photo of Sister Socorro in her grasp once more. Yet again, she interfaces with that bygone age. She began seeing what occurred later. The burglar had fouled up with Socorro. Narcissa sees a large number of that episode. Be that as it may, the admiration of the congregation ought not be lost. That is the reason Mother Predominant keeps Socorro's little girl inside the congregation. She never allows her to go out. In her recollections, Narcissa was seeing this. That is the point at which Socorro's spirit comes before her right now. At this point, Narcissa had likewise come to know that how much shamefulness had occurred with Sister Socorro previously. That is the reason she holds Sister Socorro's hand in feeling sorry for her. When she holds her hand, Narcissa accompanied Socorro previously, where she saw that Socorro's little girl had grown up. Presently, one day, that young lady has a high fever. However, Mother Predominant, head cloister adherent, also, the other sister doesn't take her to the specialist. Everybody will realize that this young lady is of Sister Socorro and that burglar. Then, at that point, the congregation will be extremely-tized. So that is the reason they shut Socorro in a room. Furthermore, attempt to fix her girl's fever. They attempt to fill the bath with cold water and put the young lady in it. Yet, the water was excessively cold. That is the reason the young lady begins moving her hands and feet. However, meanwhile, the young lady's head hits hard. Also, blood begins emerging. Abruptly, the young lady quit acting. That is, the young lady's life was taken by their hands. At the point when Socorro looked into her little girl's passing, she was unable to bear this melancholy. What's more, ends her own life. What's more, presently Narcissa felt exceptionally awful to see this occurrence previously. She opens the room where the three had locked Sister Socorro, the room that has forever been shut. Nobody is permitted to go there. Also, presently when the room opens, two courses of events start to run here, one of the past and one of the present, which are both associated with one another. When the room opens, previously, her eyes open where Socorro's body is hung. Also, presently, her body began meandering before, though in the present, her spirit begins startling them three. That is, the mother is predominant, the head cloister adherent, and the sister, the individuals who murdered her youngster. Previously, Socorro breaks the head pious devotee's face bizarrely, which killed her. Presently, when the head religious recluse kicks the bucket here, she kicks the bucket in the present too. Then, before, Socorro went to the mother predominant. She holds her face and drops it in the bath. Likewise, when the mother prevalent passes on previously, she is killed in the present also. And afterwards, Socorro kills the third sister too. Presently, along these lines, Socorro killed them three. Furthermore, got payback for her little girl.
Furthermore, the seed that was falling in Narcissa's room over and over, was Socorro attempting to offer her a hint? Though Rosa used to see her girl's spirit, there is finished harmony and serenity in the school. That is, everything was typical, totally fine. This school was protected all around. When the retribution was finished, that is, after the demise of the mother unrivaled and the head pious devotee, nobody saw that sign, nor did Socorro and her little girl's spirit. What's more, presently the scene shifts from here and comes following 40 years, that is, in 1991. Where presently this congregation school had become very large and great. New understudies used to come here and study, which was presently being controlled by Narcissa, where she had become very old. Yet at the same time she used to show the kids. With this, the tale of this film closes here.